Hi students, welcome to pharmacology video series. In this video we are going to discuss a topic comes under miscellaneous drugs under unit 7, that is de-addiction. So that is the drugs used in the de-addictions. So unit 7 actually covers the drugs, that is the miscellaneous drugs like de-addiction drugs, CPR and emergency drugs, vitamins and minerals, immunosuppressants, antidotes and antivenom, vaccines and serum. So we will see about drugs used for de-addiction. So before moving on to know what are all the drugs used, you should know what is addiction and what is de-addiction. Addiction, it's a psychological or physiological dependence on alcohol or other drugs of abuse that affects the CNS. Any drugs which affects your CNS and it makes you dependent physically as well as physiologically and psychologically, we call it as addiction. What is de-addiction? It's a term for the process of medical or psychotherapeutic treatment for dependent substance. Any substance you are dependent to and there are medical and psychotherapeutic treatment which brings you out of that, it is called de-addiction. What are the drugs commonly used as a addiction substance, that is psychotropic substances? Most of the things you may be aware that alcohol, opioid drugs, mostly morphine, fentanyl. Morphine usually they don't take it because it causes respiratory suppression. Fentanyl and pethidine is a very common thing which is used in opioid drugs. Cannabis, cocaine, amphetamines like diazepam, lorazepam, all those things, sedatives and hypnotics, inhalants. Some of the drugs which are used as inhalants like cocaine and all, they use it like inhalants also, and nicotine which is taken in any form, that is tobaccos, whatever is taken in any form, it's considered as a nicotine addiction. So here we will see mostly on alcohol addiction and nicotine de-addiction. So how we can prevent addiction? So generally the prevention of addiction is treated by 3 phases like primary prevention, secondary prevention and tertiary prevention. So primarily they will try to give the support through family and friends, and they will just try to quit from the addiction. But if that won't work, then they go for secondary prevention, which starts with psychological counseling sessions. So they will have different counseling sessions and they will try to bring the person from the addiction. If these two doesn't work, then they will move on for tertiary prevention, which starts with drug therapy, and side by side the counseling sessions will go on. So how the management of de-addiction happens is they will put the patient on behavioral therapy and pharmacotherapies, counseling sessions and rehabilitation. All of these together work to bring a person from a addiction. So it is very difficult process where we need lot of cooperation from the patient himself so that he can come out of the addiction. So this is a very common drug, very important drug which we use it for alcohol addiction cases, disulfiram. So what is disulfiram? It's a drug, alcohol aversive drug indicated for chronic alcoholic. So if any person who is on chronic alcohol addiction, we will start them on this disulfiram drug, which is an aversive drug. If they take alcohol along with this drug, it will cause a very bad symptoms which make them quit the alcohol. So here if you see the disulfiram mechanism of action, before that we should know how the alcohol makes the persons happy. Like ethyl alcohol is converted into acetaldehyde in the presence of alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme, and this acetaldehyde is converted into acetate, and this acetate will convert into carbon dioxide, water and energy. So this acetate is the one which gives them some kind of satisfaction after taking alcohol. So for this acetate formation we need aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme. Okay, so ethanol is converted into acetaldehyde in the presence of alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme, and this acetaldehyde is converted into acetate format, which gives them the pleasure of drinking, which is in the presence of aldehyde dehydrogenase. So what happens? Disulfiram acts on this aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme and it blocks it. So what happens when he take a disulfiram, or if the patient is on disulfiram and he is taking alcohol, what happens? This alcohol is converted into acetaldehyde, but it will not convert into acetate. So these patients with disulfiram, they will not get satisfaction with what they drink or what the alcohol, and they start getting some side effects like nausea, vomiting, palpitation, blurred vision. All these problem comes because of accumulation of acetaldehyde in the blood. So this is how the disulfiram works, because it gives unpleasant experience where the patient himself will not take alcohol. So what is the duration of reaction is, it will like stay for 1 to 4 hours. So after taking the disulfiram for 1 to 4 hours, the action will be effective. What are all the unpleasant symptoms this disulfiram causes if the patient who is on disulfiram takes an alcohol is nausea, vomiting, flushing, throbbing headache, uneasiness, tightness in the chest, visual disturbances, fainting, circulatory collapse and mental confusion. All these things which will give an aversion towards alcohol for these patients. But what is the problem here? He should take the disulfiram. He should not skip the disulfiram, but he can skip the alcohol. But sometimes the patient may not take the drug, thinking of unpleasant experience. So what is the dosage and usage here? No alcohol in last 12 hours. When he is taking the disulfiram, you should make sure that, or when you start him on disulfiram, make sure that he did not take any alcohol before 12 hours, because it will cause this unpleasant reaction. 500 mg per day for 1 week, followed by 250 mg daily. So this is the dosage for the drug disulfiram in the alcohol de-addiction. The next very common thing is nicotine addiction, that is nothing but smoking. So how we can bring out the clients from the nicotine addiction is by nicotine replacement therapy, which is a very simple one. Instead of taking smoking, which will cause lot of nicotine content, he can take the replacement of nicotine either by a chewing gum or a patch, so that it will give very little amount of nicotine. So we are replacing a large amount of nicotine with a very small or minimal amount of nicotine via nicotine replacement therapy. So how we can replace nicotine? Either it is available in chewing gum form in pharmacies, which can be get over the counter. Nicotine patch, they can just stick it or put it in their body, which will release very little amount of nicotine, so it will satisfy them and they may stop taking the cigarettes. Inhaler, it is available in inhaler form and nasal spray, but these two we need the prescription from the doctor. But the patch and the chewing gum has very little amount of nicotine, which we can get it over the counter. So what happens when the person smokes is, it stimulates the dopamine release. So what happens? The brain stimulates, because of this nicotine absorption in the lung, it will get absorbed and it will trigger the dopamine release in the brain. This dopamine always keeps us happy. So if you want to release the dopamine, the best thing is like you can do whatever things which makes you happy. Automatically our brain stimulates a lot of dopamine, like exercise, appreciation from others. All these things will stimulate dopamine receptors. So same like this, when this nicotine is taken through smoke, this got absorbed, and in the brain it stimulates dopamine release, which makes them happy. So what happens in nicotine replacement? Instead of this, you can see here that cigarette plus plus plus, which indicates the higher nicotine content. Instead, they will give a very lower or minimal amount of nicotine, which also binds to the acetylcholine receptors and increases the dopamine. So this prevents them from taking a smoke. This is a drug, bupropion, which is commonly used in smoking cessation or as a treatment or drug for smoking. So what is bupropion? It was originally classified as an atypical antidepressant and it is a drug used as an antidepressant also. So according to FDA, the bupropion is indicated for the treatment of major depressive disorder as it comes under atypical antidepressant. Seasonal affective disorders, like affective disorders, they will give bupropion as a treatment of choice, and also in smoking cessation. So what is the mechanism of action here? It inhibits the neuronal uptake of dopamine. So what it does is the dopamine is stay in the brain for a very shorter time. It gets absorbed in the brain. So this is stopped by this bupropion, so that the dopamine will remain in the neuroreceptor for a longer time, thereby reduces the desire to smoke. As there is dopamine release, there is more dopamine release, what happens? The person won't take or won't prefer to smoke. What is the dose here? 150 milligram daily for 3 days and 150 milligram twice daily for from 4th day. The dosage is 150 milligram daily for 3 days and 150 twice daily for 4th day. From 4th day. It should be started 1 to 2 weeks before the quit date. Actually, the nicotine replacement here, actually we want the dopamine to release, and this drug has to be taken 1 to 2 weeks prior to the quit date. Course is for about 8 weeks, which gives a quit possibility of 30%. The research shows around 30% of quit rate possibility of the course 8 weeks. Of course, it depends upon the client, and contraindicated in seizure patients, because the dopamine release is not good for the patient who are having seizures. So it is contraindicated in seizure patients. So we have seen in this video what is addiction, what is de-addiction, what are the drugs used in de-addiction, especially in case of alcohol and smoking or nicotine cases. Thank you. See you in the next video.